On February 28, 2026, the Strait of Hormuz was effectively closed to commercial shipping. This narrow waterway between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman usually handles 20% of the global oil supply, and suddenly, those shipments stopped entirely. Markets reacted immediately. The price of Brent crude, the primary global benchmark used for pricing Atlantic Basin oil, surged, hitting a 4-year peak of $126 per barrel. Refined fuels followed the exact same upward path. The cost of heating oil and diesel fuel jumped by 50.4% in a matter of weeks. Economists quickly recognized the severity of the bottleneck. Removing 20 million barrels of oil per day from the market created the largest disruption to the global energy supply since the oil shocks of the 1970s. That sudden loss of supply triggered immediate global anxiety. Supply chains were already fragile, and the situation closely mirrored the global market panic we saw 4 years earlier, during the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Typically, when the cost of fuel skyrockets, the cost of moving and producing agricultural goods follows right behind it. Historically, an energy disruption of this magnitude is the first domino to fall in a global food security crisis. But when researchers looked at the agricultural data in the first weeks of the 2026 crisis, they found an anomaly. Yet crop prices were remaining relatively stable. This chart shows the contrast. In 2022, hard red winter wheat exploded by 73.8%. In 2026, it bumped just 5.9%. Meanwhile, corn grew a modest 3.6%, and soybean futures dropped 0.1%. We have 20% of the world's oil trapped behind a naval blockade, yet the world's grain silos and crop markets aren't entering a state of panic. To understand why, we have to look at how farms actually operate. This isometric diagram breaks down agricultural economics into 2 distinct categories. On the left, we have inputs, the fuel and fertilizer required to grow a crop. On the right, we have outputs, the physical wheat, corn, and soy harvested at the end of the season. The 2022 Ukraine crisis fell strictly on the right side of this equation. It was an output shock. Before 2022, Russia and Ukraine combined to account for 29% of all global wheat exports. When the war began, millions of tons of that harvested grain were physically trapped in silos and ports. Erasing nearly a third of the world's available wheat supply means buyers instantly have to outbid each other for whatever grain is left. That physical shortage is what drove prices up by over 70%. In short, 2022 was a crisis of physical availability. The market panicked because there was a very real fear that there simply wasn't enough food to feed everyone. Returning to our farm diagram, the 2026 Strait of Hormuz crisis operates entirely on the